báyìí ló máa ń rin oṣù tó ń rìn. Tim, sorry.
Members of the press corps of the State House. In the Federal Executive Council meeting of today, I presented a memo and Council approved a contract to 2 companies for the provision of security services for the Abuja light rail mass transit system. And these companies are Messrs. Ahali Security Guards Limited and Messrs. Sea Guard Security and Protective Company Limited. They are going to provide security to the entire 45 kilometers of track, including 12 stations. And these security services are meant to protect the key infrastructure on the rail tracks, the signaling and communication equipment, as well as the electrical system. Al-Ahli Security Guard Limited is going to secure 27.4 kilometers of the track, covering 8 stations at the cost of 407,214,000 naira over a 2-year period, while Sea Guard Securities and Protective Company Limited is going to secure 18 kilometers of the rail tracks, including 4 railway stations, and that is at a cost of 310,979,250 naira. Thank you.
Works and Houses, please.
Good afternoon. The Ministry of Works presented 2 memoranda. The first was for the contract for the reconstruction of the Mushin NNPC Apapa Oshodi road. That is the road that goes through Isolo to Ejibo. This is for the sum of 11,266,270,197 naira 85 kobo to Strabic Construction Company. Council approved this memorandum. The works are expected to be executed in 20 months. The other presentation by the ministry is the report and recommendation of a council committee set up by the president in order to respond to demands by state governments for refunds on intervention made previously before this administration on federal roads before the president subsequently issued the directive that there should be no more intervention by states on federal roads, but there were some that had been done before the life of this administration. So there were 3 states, Kebbi, Yobe, and Taraba states. I think on the 22nd of June, I reported that the claims for Kebbi for 18.663 billion were approved on the 22nd of June this year. Yobe, pardon me, 22nd of June. That left those for Kebbi and Taraba states. So today, Council approved 6.706 billion for Kebbi State and 2.470 billion for Taraba State. The council also approved that the road under construction by Taraba State, for which this reimbursement is being made, that contract by the state government should now be terminated. That is the section between Bali and Seti in Taraba State. This is because you will recall last year that council had approved the full reconstruction of Bali Seti to Gembu, Bali Seti to Gembu, under the NMPC tax credit scheme. This is a better designed road than the one that has a laterite base currently being constructed by the Taraba state government. But because there was an existing approval given before the life of this administration, we will refund up to this last refund, but we will not refund anymore. We're going to reconstruct the road. So I just thought it was important to make that clarification. We have a full construction now instead of part construction that the Taraba state was undertaking. Another interesting thing to note about these reforms is that they relate to debts and obligations incurred by the previous administration before the life of this administration. So this is also part of the national debt. So the process of payment requires the Ministry of Finance, subsequent to this approval now, to go to the National Assembly to get approval to raise debt to secure payment to the states. I think it's important to note that when we're having conversations about the national debt, these are some of the components. They were inherited debts that this government is also paying for infrastructure. The last point to note is that this is a bipartisan approval, irrespective of party affiliations. All of the states who submit, who meet the conditions, who show documentation benefit. As you will see, Taraba, Kebbi, and Yobe states are certainly bipartisan in their political affiliations. And you will see that previously, when I came here, we had reported refunds to states like Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Cross River, and Oshun, I believe, at the time. So it has gone on like this, and the total amount now, the first tranche was about 700 billion for 24 states. I think we then reported about another 120-something billion for about 5 states. So now this is a total of 18.6 plus 6.7, that's about 25 roughly, plus about 2.5, about 27 thereabouts if you add it up again. So it's nearing $1 trillion very progressively, and that's part of the public debt that we're talking about. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have the privilege of presenting before Council a memorandum from the Ministry of Transportation on behalf of one of its agencies, namely the Nigerian Railway Corporation. The memo sought Council's approval to purchase spare parts and undertake the repairs and overhaul of one of its critical cranes, namely KRC 800 number 170206, which had previously been advertised in the newspapers and the Federal Tenders Journal. Council considered the memorandum. This crane is required by the corporation for emergency repairs of the corporation's rolling stock. It has broken down and therefore needed to be fixed. It has gone through all the due process of tender award, after which Council considered and approved that the contract be awarded to Messrs. VPAN Global Investment Resources Limited, who are in partnership with the original equipment manufacturers in Germany, in the total sum of 1,491,065,722 naira 72 kobo, inclusive of 7.5% VAT, with a completion period of 12 months. Thank you.
Naira.
The figure is Naira 1,491,065,722 and 72 kobo. Thank you.
The proceedings today because she had 4 memos and all the 4 were approved. Honorable Minister, please.
Sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, today the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development presented to Council on behalf of the Northeast Development Commission 4 memos. These memos are in respect of road reconstruction for 5 states of the Northeast region, namely Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, Gombe, and Bauchi. Borno, we have 22.5 kilometer road that is to be reconstructed, and this road is Ngom, Koshobi, and Ngom, Dosmari, Zabarmari, Gongolongo, Kadari Road, with the contract sum of 13,553,902,668 naira 95 kobo. The second contract is on the construction of 53-kilometer Gombe-Aba to Krifi Road in Gombe and Bauchi State, and the contract sum of 11,697,355,449 naira 61 kobo. The other road is the 54 kilometers Mutai Ngalda Road in Yobe State, with the contract sum of 12,199,182,845 naira and 70 kobo. The fourth one is the one for Adamawa State, Garkida Road, so to speak. I'm afraid I don't have that document here, but it's also on road reconstruction, Garkida Road in Adamawa State, located at the fringes of the Sambisa forest. And all these roads are being taken into consideration and selected in conjunction with the state governments and other critical stakeholders. These roads are expected to stimulate economic activities, enhance security, and facilitate the freer movement of goods and people in these affected states within the zone. The ministry also is in collaboration with the Ministry of Works and Housing in the co-funding of various roads in the Northeast region. As you are aware, the Northeast Development Commission was established in 2017 to address issues of rebuilding, reconstructing, rehabilitating, reintegrating the people of the Northeast who have been affected by the insurgency. We are also in partnership and collaboration with the Nigerian Society of Engineers in the area of engaging reputable local consultants for the design and supervision of the major works in line with the Executive Order 5 for promoting local content in science, engineering, and technology. All the 4 memos were considered and graciously approved by Council. Thank you very much. Okay, the Adamawa one, which I just mentioned, the 32 kilometers Zabuna-Garkida Road in Adamawa State, it has a contract sum of 6,202,214,413 naira 29 kobo, inclusive of 7.5 VAT. Thank you.
Of the press, I have said in the past that it is better to save the life of one Nigerian. To save the life of one Nigerian than risk the lives of many Nigerians. There are 2 core matters at the heart of the resumption of the Abuja-Kaduna rail services. And these core issues are: 1, families are traumatized over their loved ones that are still in captivity. 2, we need to have a surveillance and monitoring system on the rail track that would ensure that such incidents never happen again. So we are pursuing these 2 things at the same time, trying to get the victims of the kidnap released, and at the same time looking for the best solution in terms of surveillance. We are looking at so many options. We want to go for the best one, a sustainable one, and don't forget, ultimately, whatever we have as a template between Abuja and Kaduna that succeeds would also serve the thousands of kilometers of rail lines across the country. I think this is as much as I would say. If I give you a timeline now, I'll be lying to you. But I can tell you one thing. We are working day and night. Look, we are looking at solutions that are technology-based. And you know technology changes every day. At the same time, don't forget, for goodness sake, wouldn't it be insensitive of us to resume these services, even if security surveillance was in place, as long as some members, some citizens of this country spend days and nights weeping over their loved ones that are held in the bush. There's a system, there's a solution that the Kano State government has employed for the Felgore forest, sanctioned by the DSS. We are looking at that. We are also mindful of cost. Now, if, for example, you're going to spend between 3 and 9 billion naira just to provide surveillance and monitoring system along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line alone, how much is government going to spend for the entire country? So we are also looking at options, PPP options, for example. For example, there are companies, notable companies that have solved this thing outside this jurisdiction, where we give them the right of way, they put the infrastructure and the personnel, and then we pay as you go, which is a more attractive option for me. And we are looking at it. I think in the direct answer to your question, maybe in another 1 month we should be back to you with a solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the question from Umar Aliyu, thank you for commending His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for his gracious approval of this project, and council as well. And on the issue of timeline, whether we have measures in place if these projects are going to be completed within so timeline. Yes, it's part of the contract agreement. All the contracts except for Borno, they're going to be completed within a period of 12 months. And that, I think, answers Linda's part of the questions that she asked. Except for Borno, the 3 ones are within a period of 12 months. For Borno, it is 24 months timeline. And there are going to be measures in place to adhere to that timeline, strict compliance. And then the other question asked by Linda is on how much the North is, Gloria, you look alike, is to know how much, you want to know how much NEDC has expended, so far. To be frank with you, I don't think we can provide that answer now, but we're inviting you to come to the validation of the Northeast Development Master Plan, which is going to take place on the 1st of September. There you see all the answers to so many questions that you need to know. Thank you very much.
Maybe we just give the answer, that's all. Thank you very much to the lady from Channels. I think it's Gloria. You asked me a question regarding the 2,000 houses being constructed by the FCT administration. Quite frankly, I don't have an answer for you now. I'm not in a position to really give you a precise update. But maybe in our next encounter, I'll be able to answer you. Thank you.
I think Ruth asked a question about Twitter. You said a Twitter user. Pardon? A whistleblower said Governments don't react to whistleblowers. No, but on a more serious note, I mean, how would you be taking a whistleblower something for seriously? This is a situation whereby there was a committee made up of ministers, like, the Minister of Works, Communication, Labor, and we met a high-level committee of Twitter, interacted for several months, and we are still engaging. How can you now take seriously a whistleblower say, that's coming to blow his whistle. Thank you. Pardon? Where's the? That's why I said, well, we're going to engage with Twitter, and I think if the Honorable Minister of Information, Communication and Digital, Communication and Digital Economy were here, or NIDA, I'll be able to give you, further information on exactly where they are now, where their office is. But what I can tell you is that based on the agreement with Twitter, we are issuing guidelines which will govern the operations of all, online, media organizations in Nigeria. Thank you.
Echo, my work in progress. The way I do.